the CR zones. We keep hearing about these commercial residential zones. There are 3 different types, and they can be right next to residential single-family homes. Can you discuss the 3 different types, what people might expect in their community if that moves forward?
It's on. I'm not sure this is working. It says on, but it's got a red light. Thank you. Am I allowed to state, are we going to have a chance to talk about what we just read about? Because there were a lot of, we have a situation where we have very different interpretations. So maybe when the audience asks questions, we'll get to that. But we have very different interpretations of the same document. So the question was, what are the family of CR zones that people can expect? There are 3. There's CRN, which is commercial residential neighborhood. There's CRT, which is commercial residential town. And then there's CR, commercial residential. And it is intended more for, we now would think of as a CBD area or near a metro station. But one thing I want to clarify quickly, though, is that those aren't the only commercial zones that the current commercial zones in our county would be converted into. We have this family of employment zones that Francois mentioned in the beginning, and 2 of those, there are 4 of them. 2 of those 4 are modeled on the current C1 and the current C2 zone. So we have the neighborhood retail, which is basically C1, which is meant to be your neighborhood retail shopping center, a small one. It is neighborhood serving. That is what neighborhood retail is modeled on. We have something called general retail, which is modeled on C2. C2 is more of a regional shopping center that might be larger. It draws from more than just the neighborhood. That is what we model general retail on. There's also a life science center zone. The county currently has a life science center zone. Those are equivalent. And then we have, where we have taken a lot of our existing, what we would think of as office park zones or office zones. We have one called commercial office. We have one called office moderate. And we've consolidated those into what is called an EOF zone, an employment office zone. So I just wanted to clarify that not everything is going into CRN, CRT, or CR. There are 4 other zones that they're also potentially being converted into. Is that enough?
Yes, for me.
You know, not all of those zones will end up next to people's homes, but when they are, their density, meaning how much they're allowed to build, and their height will be based on what they're allowed to have now. We are not adding any density, and we're not adding any height, so those things stay the way they are permitted today. And the uses will have only very small changes. As I said earlier, we had to make some adjustments in order to go from 120 zones to 40 zones, but we minimized the number of those adjustments.
My next question is for Julie and Meredith. The county now has over 1 million residents. Demographics continue to change, and people who are moving here and people who have been here for a while want different things. Some of that is reflected in this planning, in this zoning rewrite. What are your thoughts about the new needs and new desires of residents, new and old?
Is this on?
It's working.
Okay, we're going to go to green one. Well, our thoughts are, of course, sitting on the planning board, I gave this a lot of thought, and we are a large county. I think, you know, one of the things that's very important is to have a series of zones, diverse zones, that deal with all the different areas of the county, because, you know, most codes are dealing more with the town, and there's a lot more uniformity, but we have every kind of use here. We have dense apartments, we have the cul-de-sac neighborhoods in the northern part of the county, we have metro scattered around, and we need to develop those areas, but we already have had a lot of zones. If you look at some of our master plans, you will see that we've had the zones that we need for very, very dense development. Look at Bethesda. Look how how Bethesda's changed in the last 20 years. Look at Silver Spring. All of this happened under the zones that we have now. And the cranes are always up, which is a good thing. But during that time period, our single-family neighborhoods were clearly delineated and received protections. And our concern, as I said earlier, is that that line that protected those neighborhoods is wavering. And there's it's a new philosophy that people would rather have, other kinds of uses spread out through their neighborhoods, different housing types. We dealt with this very early in the zoning code, where there was going to be a proposal to allow really different kinds of housing types within our single-family neighborhoods. That has not moved forward. This is different. But as we said in talking about the floating zones in particular, and these new buildings, that general building, traditionally those things have been at the edges of our communities. The idea that a general building, no matter how well it's set back and buffered, next door to a single-family home is not going to change that neighborhood, and the parking issues, the different kinds of issues. That's hard to accept. I think that we have to look very closely. I think what we're asking you all to do, just take a really good look. You may read this and say, I'm fine with this. I would actually like to have somebody build this next door to me. I have no problem with it. Personally, I think it goes too far, so I don't agree with that. But I think, it's for everybody to take a look. But we want to raise this so that you realize this is something to think about.
I would just add that, I think we're all aware of the changing demographics in the county. I'm an example of an empty nester who's retired, downsized, and now lives in a condominium building in the middle of all the high-rises in Friendship Heights. We need these larger communities. We need the density. We need it for the economy of the county. We need the jobs, and we need that kind of housing. But the county has historically valued and attracted businesses because of its single-family neighborhoods. And we're concerned, and we think you should at least be knowledgeable about what this new zoning code portends for those neighborhoods, and about some of the provisions that we believe will take away, if you will, existing protections of your single-family neighborhoods. Some of it's procedural, some of it's substantive. But these are issues that council's going to be dealing with all summer and into the fall, and that you all should educate yourselves and become aware of it.
Thank you. Last question for me goes back to Francoise and Pamela. There is concern that with the impending creation of the Purple Line, with the BRT, Bus Rapid Transit, coming online in years ahead, that homes in close proximity, within a mile or so of those stops and stations, will have their zoning changed, or that there will be more dense buildings allowed near there. Can you speak to that concern?
It's possible that the council could decide to do that at some future time. That is not part of the zoning ordinance rewrite. The rewrite does not increase density anywhere, and it doesn't distinguish between properties that are close to transit and that aren't, except that one of the public benefits that gives you points in the CR zones is proximity to transit. So to the extent that our transit expands, more properties will be able to get points for that, which means getting points allows you to build to your top density more easily. But the zoning rewrite is not making any changes with regard that affect that.
Okay. I'm now going to turn it over to Tony Hausner of the President's Council of Silver Spring.